Can you talk about the exhibition on Saturday at Ozarks?
Sure. It was good to get out and get our first 11-a-side competitive action to really see what that looks like. With the weather that we've had here for the past 2 weeks, it's been really tough getting outdoors to actually train and get an idea of what we've got. So that was really the first big reveal that we've had. I went into the game from a coaching standpoint and evaluating standpoint with what I would consider reasonable standards and expectations. So I can come away, and we as a team can come away with knowing that, we played no less than those expectations during that opportunity to be competitive and play at University of Ozarks. And it was good. I think we came back with relatively no injuries sustained during the match, and we got a really good idea of what we are to this point. So I think it'll bode well going into our first actual regular season matchup at Belhaven this week.
Talk about just a little bit on each of the positions, the mids, the goalkeeper, the center backs, the defenders.
Sure. In some cases, we've got quite a bit of depth in some of those positional players, but more importantly than the depth is probably the competitive value amongst each. So, we've got a number of forwards. I think if you go back and look at our history over the past few years, the attacking area of the field is where we struggle the most, mainly between the midfielders and the forwards. I think some of those issues are going to improve quite a bit going into this season. We've got a good core of midfielders right now, good core of forward players. Our back line played really well against Ozarks and showed us that we're going to have a decent back line. Goalkeepers, we've had that regular staple in goal for the past 3 years that's been very high quality, and it'll continue to be. So there's a lot of confidence from the goalkeeper position from our team. But overall, we're very balanced. So that's the best probably way of describing what you're looking at between the goalkeepers, defenders, midfielders, and forwards. It's a very balanced group.
And finally, just talk about the different dynamics of having so many newcomers for the 2016 season.
I think it's awesome. Some of the best teams that I've been a part of as a coach specifically have had large population of newcomers that are big contributors to that team. Some teams you have large incoming classes, but only a handful contribute. When it comes to this class, it's not a handful that's going to contribute. It's the entire newcomer class that's going to contribute. So that dynamic kind of changes everything about your team, which can be a little nerve-wracking, but at the same time it can be refreshing because there's always something new. The returners are seeing new things. They're having to adapt, but they're doing it in a way that shows a positive connection to it. So that newcomer group is going to be, in some respects, without putting too much pressure on them, the core of this team, but at the same time they're not the core, and so they're going to have to do a lot of following and learning, but they're very important to the future success of our program.
Thanks, Coach.
You're welcome.